speaker, and I'm extremely happy to be partnering with FIDC in this juncture where we need a lot of like cooperation and participation. We have been working together. We are exchanging our notes to each other for a long time, and we are having a lot of cooperation and communication in between. And somewhere we are also working together. We work, all of us, we are work in the same space. So this is the one of this initiative between us. I mean, others are also on the way to bring both of the sides together, to the demand side, the supply side, everything together. And we thought that let us bring together, let us understand each other, because once we understand in a better way, then we can take our initiatives together further. So just giving some hints that uh, first two things like a bit logistical. First one is, if we are not speaking, please let us keep ourselves mute. Second thing, to the speakers and dignitaries, that please, if it would be better if you keep your deliberations within time. So it is around 5 minutes each. The other part is like to give a kind of all-round picture at this point of time. According to Bharat Microfinance Report 2020, we are seeing that more than 110 lending NBFCs are supporting this microfinance sector, which is very heartening, and which is really, we are very happy to see that they are understanding, because some of them, they have started their own initiative, and some of them, they could understand what microfinance is. Probably after this discussion with everyone, we can also understand each other in a better way. So let us start formally. So what I will do, I will be moderating this session of interaction. And in this session, I would first request Mr. Satish, Dr. P. Satish, Executive Director of Sadhan, for welcome and introductory address. So, Mr. Satish, over to you.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Thank you, Shaibal, and I welcome all the participants to this interaction between NBFCs and MFIs, and the meet which is being jointly organized by Sadhan and FIDC. Saibal has made in his introductory remarks the support which NBFCs are extending to MFIs, especially the small MFIs. I can say that from the microfinance institutions, we are extremely thankful to the MFIs for their support, financial support, especially for the small and medium MFIs. Because of that, many of the small MFIs were able to survive and carry on their operations. So I can say that the support, financial support from the NBFCs to the MFIs has been like a lifeline. So for that, I would like to place on record our appreciation of NBFCs and their NBFCs Association, FIDC. So in this, I would like to personally thank Mr. Mahesh Thakkar, because he has been always there as a source of support whenever we requested. And whenever we requested some communication to go to the NBFCs, he was always willing to do. And at this stage, I would also like to acknowledge the tremendous policy advocacy role which FIDC plays on behalf of the NBFCs. So that's also sometimes some what we can say, some path for us, because some of the issues when they raise, it gives us some outline as for us also to raise that. And in the last financial year after the COVID and all, both FIDC as well as NABARD in their own way have taken up a lot of policy level advocacy issues with the government, Reserve Bank, and other regulators. And we have been able to get a good amount of success, though I cannot say that we got the 100% success. So with this support from the NBFCs has been quite useful to the MFIs. But in the financial sector, there can be always a lot of issues. There are a lot of issues with regard to the various conditions on which this credit is available. There are issues with regard to the pricing of this credit to the MFIs and all. So for that, it would be better if we have a longer, I would say, a discussion with a larger scope between the MFIs and the NBFCs. So that's the reason we are jointly organizing this meet today. I'm thankful to FIDC for partnering this, and at the same time, we hope that at the end of this meeting, we would have a good understanding of the need of the MFIs with regard to the credit support from the NBFCs, and the NBFCs would be able to respond to the request, especially of the small and medium MFIs. So with this few words, I would not like to take much time. I request Shaibal to take these deliberations forward by moderating this event.
Thank you very much, Dr. Satish. And yes, at the end of this meeting, we are really looking forward for the convergence and to understand each other. Thank you for once again reiterating it. Mr. Thakkar, now I'll request Mr. Mahesh Thakkar, Director General of FIDC, for his special note. Over to you, Mr. Thakkar.
Yeah. Thank you, Saibal. Good afternoon, friends. Mahesh Thakkar, Director General of Finance Industry Development Council, FIDC, which you all know this is the representative body of all assets and loan financing of NBFCs in India. We are in existence in 17 years by this name and 13 years by other name. So we have been very active, and almost all such NBFCs other than HFCs and MFIs are members here. Our, of course, major task is, as Satish said, is representation and lobbying with the Reserve Bank of India, Ministry of Finance, and various other ministries and regulators. In fact, if you ask me, from April 21, till date, in 2.5 months, we've made 19 representations to various authorities. It's RBI, SEBI, NABARD, MSME Ministry, Ministry of Finance, IBA, and NITI Aayog, etc. And we had a meeting, more than 6 meetings with RBI, SEBI, NITI Aayog, ARC committee constituted by RBI, RRA committee group of advisors, and we had a meeting on 15th June with MSME Minister. In fact, I have kept Sadhan on my mailing list, and they get all our meetings and representations, which I would request you can also circulate to all your members, because most of the issues which we talk are same. It's either funding or the issues, regulatory issues. Regulatory issues are almost same, and funding applies to both of us. We'll come to that coordination a little later, but we all can, also we have this quarterly newsletter, press and media publicity. We have a very active website and a social media presence, which, you all can participate. I will share all the links, and we keep it updated like you only. We have done a lot of seminars and trainings also together. Satish knows that in the good old days, we had to have more than 6 or 8 seminars in a year with various, other apex body associations. And we hope that this can continue. But in the meantime, we can do it ourselves, because we are basically NBFCs, and helping each other will help each one of us. Let's come to today's meeting. The purpose is funding, and funding. As you saw that big NBFCs which are funding to the small MFIs are participating from our side. We have not invited the gamut of those 150 members or 300 members from our side. Only the members who are actually funding to the MFI sectors have been invited today, so that we can have a meaningful discussion in the first phase. We have represented to Reserve Bank and SEBI about these funding issues. It can be to the NBFCs or the MFIs. Some 1 or 2 new things which are likely to emerge is the separate refinance institution for NBFCs, including MFIs. Second is rating to be down. You can't do away with rating all the times, but 1 notch downwards, and still the funds can be available. We have represented to RBI, SEBI, and other people. They are working on it. One more issue we have taken up is the double intermediation. So, for example, banks are shying away to give it to the NBFCs or MFIs, but banks give it to the big NBFCs, and big NBFCs give it to the MFIs. So the double intermediation is there going on, but it can be structured, it can be formalized in some manner, so that a regular and consistent flow of funds is available to small NBFCs and small MFIs. A note has been prepared by us and sent to SEBI, which I can share it later, and this will go a long way. We need to agree to each other. All the members of funding, the MFIs are present here. on the terms, the eligibility criteria, the paperwork, the speed of implementation, interest rates, and various other issues, and of course the technological issues. So this coordination meeting will go a long way in working together. Other coordination among us, as I said, is between us is the sharing each other and endorsing each other's representations wherever it applies to both the parties. Seminars and training we share, data sharing is the one. And for all these purposes, if we want, we can next 3 months we can target and have a MOU between Sadhan and FIDC for coordinating this work so that it benefits all the members, your members and my members. And of course, as you know, from my side, FIDC side, there are KV Srinivasan, our representation committee chairman is present. The members from Mass Financial, Vibhrati Capital, Kinara Capital, Hinduja Leland, and four other NBFCs are going to reply to your queries and suggestions. And we're looking forward to a very great and fruitful dialogue here. And we will carry it on as much as required further in the times to come. Thanks again, Sadhan, for initiating this. And welcome, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thakkar. You have actually brought a lot of issues which we need to discuss in this meeting. Thank you for setting up the tone of the meeting. So at this point of time, I would take it a bit forward, and I would like to understand from the perspective of microfinance institutions that how the journey has been, where lies the challenges, and how can we work together. Definitely some regulatory issues, sometimes there's rating issues, sometimes some other issues. So this is all of us, we are actually the insider of the game, the insider of the industry. So I'd request all of our dignitaries, the speakers, please do open up, and then only we can bring up something meaningful. Otherwise, you know, it happens that we bring together people and they don't talk about the issues, and at the end of the meeting, we don't come up with something. Let us do that one. Let us actually speak about the issues. So in order to understand the perspective of the microfinance sector, I would like to request Mr. Vivek Tiwari, MD and CEO Satya Micro Capital Limited, to speak on the things and give us some perspective from your that how has it been, what's your journey, and where lies the challenges, and how can we take it forward. So Vivek, I mean, it's 5 minutes for you.
Thank you so much, Sebalji. Definitely, it's a great evening when Sadhan and FIDC has given this opportunity, and most of the small and medium MFIs of the country, they are watching this show with lots of hope. As a new age microfinance institution, we are almost 4.5 years now. And in 4.5 years, we have traveled our journey from small to medium to large category. And luckily, I was benefited with my own experience in the sector and relationship in the sector, whatever trust, credibility, and learning I was having from the sector. But in today's scenario, when old MFIs, small MFIs, they are facing the challenges of demonetization earlier, and in last 1.5 years, they are facing the challenges of COVID in a very different way. The fundraising is a challenge, and almost 15 or 20 small and medium MFIs, they are struggling to get the funds from different sources with the multiple regulations and with the different expectations from the central bank and other stakeholders. I think to operate in the microfinance space, that is one of the biggest challenge, when as a sector which is working for the people at the bottom of pyramid, expectations from the that particular segment is interest rate and operating cost and early days challenges. That is one. And when it comes to, because it is unsecured loan, and when it comes to the lender, they have their own concerns of being as a unsecured loans given by the small and MFI and the large MFI. That is a challenge. In last 20 years, the sector has evolved, and we are able to bridge the gap of trust that was earlier, how this sector can be funded. In last 10-12 years, with the help of Mass, Northern Arc, Vibhrati, and all others, all other lenders, especially Ananya, and they were the pioneer, and those are Samriti. So that trust has been developed. They have developed their own monitoring system. They have developed their own capacity evaluation system, and even without going by too much rating and all other parameters, they have trusted on the MFI model. And almost anyone who has started a microfinance institution, we all have got support in early days, and sector has flourished. And those who are big today, they were smaller at some point of time. But because back-to-back crisis is there, and in this particular crisis, the trust on the borrowers is still, we believe on the, we have a confidence on our borrowers, and the entire funding to this particular borrower segment is on the trust base, and better underwriting of the customers on basis of their loan utilizations, and planning, understanding of their businesses. So this is one of the most valuable sector, where one of the most challenging, because we are creating employment and entrepreneurship both, and these two things are one of the biggest challenges for the country as of now. And only definitely the microfinance sector, I cannot say only, but we are able to address it up to certain level, and our contribution, direct and indirect, to the country GTB, definitely that will be a huge. And if we go by the learnings of Bangladesh, their success, behind their success, I can say that the success of microfinance institutions in Bangladesh, that is playing a significant role in the economical upliftment of Bangladesh. So the challenges, what maybe there are, the two things, they are very prominent for this sector, or any lending institution, is that responsible lending and responsible borrowing. And in those shoes, to fit everything in a tight regulation, that becomes sometimes very much challenging. The reputation of this sector, especially in small and medium category, that was impacted in last year because of one or two institutions. They have not performed well, and their governance issues were there. But because of that issue, I think in this particular difficult time, that governance issue of two MFIs and one or two MFIs, and the challenges of COVID and demonetization, that is bringing a lot of struggle in the life of small and medium MFIs. But when I go by the small and medium MFI data, and even the large MFI, in large numbers, you can say that there is not an intent issue. People are coming with the professional background. They have invested their life for the with the intent to work for the people at the bottom of pyramid. And even in this particular time, most of promoters, I know that they even don't draw their salaries properly. Even their personal lives, they have compromised on all these parameters. And if we go by careful evaluation, means just by avoiding because when you are small, your challenges are big. The challenges of rating, the challenges of IT system, the challenges of hiring good team, these are the key challenges. And it's just like egg and chicken story, which investment should be earlier. So with these, as my own experience, we have decided to invest everything early in day one, in place of going by implementation next is there, because my confidence was that if I'm able to place my house in a proper order, and I'm able to develop my own credibility and confidence in the sector, the funds will not be a challenge. But I know the struggles of the small and medium FIs and early age promoters. They have, when they are coming to the sector, they are coming with emotion. They are having limited their own cash flows, but they have intent to serve. Their intent is to create an employment and empowerment both. So for majority of the population, intent is not issue either for the customers and also either from the category, either from the NBFC institutions. It's just about matter of time. Means the crisis has hit it back to back, and that's why many institutions are struggling as of now. But opportunities are big. Even from the NBFC space, I am hearing that more than 100 NBFCs are serving to the sector. They are lending to the institutions, but their priorities are also only large institutions or mid-sized institutions. Those who are having capital adequacy is the key, I think, as of now. and the small and medium, they are struggling with their capital adequacy norm and rating and grading and all these challenges. But intent is not a challenge. Their capacity is not a challenge. And if all these from the NBFC sector, if we create some model of some more vigilance, some more monitoring on the ground, I think funds will not be a challenge. The opportunities are big. Those players are locally based. They are having the local knowledge. And when it comes to the repayment behavior and all these things, their local knowledge is reflected in terms of their MIS. I'm observing that even the small and medium MFIs, they are having better repayment rates in this particular crisis than the big ones in many parts. So my personal feel is that there is a big opportunity, and for the institutions and for the lenders both, and we should utilize that. It is just the bridging up the gap of the confidence that has been saved because of one or two crises, because of the crisis and one or two incidences in the sector. We can come together, we can discuss a lot, and we can find a way to fund these institutions. And it is a service of the nation, it is service of the country, community both, and we all can find a proper way to serve the nation. That is from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vivek. It's always good to hear you, and you bring a lot of positiveness in the discussion. And your two, 3 points we had really liked that, there's a trust has already been built up that between the NBFCs, lending NBFCs, and that's the genesis of everything, the relationship. It has already been built up. Maybe we need to look at the approaches a bit more, and we can make it a really big thing. Yeah, thank you very much. Now I will be looking forward to hear from Mr. Bikendrajit Koijam, and he is MD from YVU. He is representing Northeast part of our country.
Thank you, Sagulji.
Yep.
Thank you, Sadan, for giving me this opportunity to share my views on this platform. I've spoken with some MDs and CEOs of some small MFIs. So the views that I'm going to share today is not just mine, but the perspective and the views that small MFIs have in general regarding raising of funds from NBFCs. I would like to begin by thanking NBFCs because they are the ones supporting us in our endeavor, because when no or very few banks are supporting us. I believe most, if not all, small and medium MFIs have NBFCs as major lenders. For YVU, 82% of our borrowings is from NBFCs. Though we are very thankful to NBFCs, we feel that we also have some issues that we want to put across to the NBFCs. Let's talk about the cost of fund first. For YVU, the highest that we have borrowed, it was 15.5% rate of interest. But if we take into consideration the processing fee, the rate of interest, the opportunity cost of putting in the cash collateral, the effective cost to the company came as high as 19.63%. But for other NBFC lenders, this cost ranges from 17% to 18%. Please note that this cost, which I just mentioned, does not include the cost of obtaining the CA certificate. Every year we incur huge expenses, which runs into lakhs of rupees, just for obtaining this CA certificate, which we have to submit to the lenders every quarter. Some lenders even charged us for performing due diligence over and above the 1% processing fee they charge. Few lenders, their stamp duty for execution of loan agreement was as high as 75,000 for a loan amount of 3 crore. So there is over and above other charges. On the other hand, when we lend, our regulator has kept the lending rate. Currently, it is at 21.48%. So on lighter note, we feel that we are being squeezed from both sides. My request or suggestion, which I want to put across to the lenders, is to please consider all these costs that we incur and reduce this cost. Some cost like certification cost could be reduced if the lenders agree to a common format. for some of the certificates. I also request the lenders to reduce the frequency for submitting of these certificates to at least half yearly or yearly basis. Because to do this on quarterly basis, we have to incur huge cash outflow. I also request lenders to devise means of reducing this stamp duty charges, because when we borrow from some other lenders, we have to pay just about 900 or 1,200 for the same amount, where we have to pay 75,000 rupees. So there's a huge difference in that amount. So I would request lenders to devise a means with which this stamp duty charges could be reduced. Another major issue which sometimes make me lose my sleep is this personal guarantee. It is not that I don't have faith in my ability to run my company. It is the vulnerability to the black swan events which are beyond our control. For example, this Andhra crisis or Assam microfinance crisis or this pandemic. Frankly speaking, my personal net worth is in negative, that too in crores, if we take into consideration the liability side of my personal guarantee that I have offered for raising funds for my company. In that sense, I am a crorepati, but in a negative crorepati in that sense. So that is in the lighter note. But I believe that most of my colleagues from other companies, especially small and medium MFIs, would echo the same feeling. So everyone, the lenders, the borrowers, we know that, God forbid, if such a black swan event happens, no lender will be able to fully recover from the guarantor, because most of us do not have that much net worth to cover the liability. So my request to the lenders, to the NBFCs, is to do away with this personal guarantee and grant us this invaluable gift of having a good night's sleep. Another major problem is the short loan tenure. Most NBFCs have loan tenure of 12 months to 24 months. So I wish and hope that my fellow colleagues do not have to borrow a fund which is for 12 months. But we had to, because due to the need of fund, we had to borrow funds with tenure of just 12 months. I understand that the lender must have analyzed the microfinance loan portfolio and found that a good chunk of our portfolio has 12 months tenure. So there is no harm in lending to the MFI for 12 months. But please consider other factors like time cost. Lesser tenure also increases the effective cost of fund. My request to the lender is to have a minimum loan tenure of 24 months. That is my request. And let me now come down to cash loan collateral part. Since we have to provide cash collateral of 10% for all our borrowings, for small MFIs like us, we have come across situations where the amount of cash collateral that we have offered is almost the same as the paid up capital. So what happens is that when we try and raise fund from institutions like Mudra or NABARD, the refinance agencies, we are not left with much of freehold loan portfolio. So there we find it very difficult to raise fund. So my request here to the lenders is to restrict the cash collateral to 5%, so that there is room for us to create this freehold loan portfolio. And since Saibulji had said earlier that I also represent from the Northeast, so I would like to mention just a specific issue that I think that the Northeastern MFIs face. Most recently, that I had spoken with, just after the microfinance crisis in Assam, most lenders have this perception that if something wrong is happening in Assam, the whole of the Northeastern states are going to go through the same crisis. So Assam is made equal to Northeastern region. So and we face difficulties in raising funds. When there was a microfinance crisis in Upper Assam, we do have some portfolio, about 10% in Assam, but no exposure. We didn't have any exposure in Upper Assam. So in that case also, we faced some difficulties because the lenders were of the view that these issues could percolate to other states. Here, I would like to request the lenders to not have such views about these MFIs in the Northeastern region. And I hope that the lending institutions would consider this request. I have made an act on them positively. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bikandrajit. It was very candid discussion from your end. And you were mainly talking about the cost structure and the loan tenure and the collateral side. And you also brought the perspective of Northeast. Thank you very much. It was good to hear you. So now my third speaker to understand the perspective of microfinance sector is Dr. Akhil Ahmed Khan, MD, Mitrata Inclusive Service.
Thank
Akhil,
you.
over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. I'll make sure I'm within time. I think echoing what has been said by previous two speakers, I won't be repeating that. But first of all, to thank Sadhan and also all the NBFCs who are here and not here, because as rightly said, without them, small and medium MFIs cannot survive. Mitrata has done its journey from small. Now we have entered into medium as per MFIN. Today I was looking at the panels. Out of 10 panelists of NBFC, 7 are already the partners of Mitrata. So that demonstrates that there are relationships, but there are challenges. And I will be talking about that today and the solutions also. I think that to begin with, for small and medium MFIs, the challenge is of accessibility. How do we get access to these NBFCs? I remember my days when I had to spend a fortune of traveling to Mumbai's and Bangalore's and, visiting every agency, meeting them, introducing. So that was a cost to the company when we had very little operations kind of a thing. So I think accessibility, and in today's time and because of COVID, the bad but good things, use of technology, I think the NBFCs has to ensure that accessibility can be ensured, where we can reach out, where we can engage, we can discuss. We are not saying to get the money, but that is something which is very, very important. Second is, of course, is the timely availability of money. When we need the money, the MFI, not when they want to give the money. That is something which is very, very critical, because Q4, there is pressure, take the money, relationships, all kind of discussions happen. We all know it, and we have to take the money, whether we can deploy it or not. We are carrying forward it, the interest at which we borrow, the cost of fund, I'm not going to repeat that. But, and with COVID, I mentioned the other day on NABARD meeting also, now the productivity window has reduced to 3 quarters, maybe 2 quarters. I don't know how the environment is building to start disbursing the money from 1st of July. So what is the approach of NBFCs? It has to come out very proactively to MFIs, because if it's a partnership, so I believe it should not be a transactional relationship, it should be a partnership relationship. Right now, it's very transactional in nature. Money given, guarantees given, sleepless nights, all of us has that, negative earth, and it's about paying at time. Third thing is very important is that, not to pull back in distress time. We saw what happened in COVID 1.0. There is already a fear of COVID 2.2, whether the money will come or not. The money is there, but it's not coming into the circuit. It's not coming into the cycle. So not pulling back, rather building the confidence, creating an ecosystem of positivity and confidence. The fourth part I would say is about risk-based pricing. I understand we are into a lending business. They borrow money, they give it to us. We borrow, we pass it on. So we are not into any charity or philanthropy business, absolutely well taken. But what is the DNA of a company? What has been the past performance records? How the whole relationship has evolved over a period of time. And that should be taken into consideration while deciding on the pricing, costing, what is the outlook of the regulators on the industry and how it is affecting small and medium MFIs. But same pricing for all, or maybe for the bigger it's cheaper and for the smaller is expensive. That's the way it should. I feel it should be the other way around. It should be cheaper for the smaller ones because we can't afford very expensive debts. I also feel that there should be a facility or relation to accessibility is also about using tech platform for self-assessment. As an MFI, I want to know I qualify, I don't qualify, will I get the debt or not? What will be the quantum of the debt which can be made available? Because every NBFC makes these decisions based on certain data, certain information. Why can't I do that self-assessment? I know my requirement is 70 crores for the year or 50 crores for the year, but I won't be able to get it from 10 NBFCs. I have to go to maybe 25 or 30 NBFCs. So I think those kinds of assessment tools. I must mention here Northern Arc and Vivriti, but because we work with both of them and they have the mandate. They have developed a beautiful platform of uploading the data. They don't ask us data every time. We put it on their platform. The showcasing happens, and they write the loans from their own books, and they mobilize funds for us. So I think all NBFCs, since there is a practice which exists in this fraternity, and Mr. Thakkar is here, it's a lovely model which need to be replicated, because then we don't have to submit data every time, and it's not a starting from the scratch and optimization. So use of technology, and which Northern Arc has and Vivriti both have developed that, and which is very user friendly. I think the last part I would like to say here is how to build the whole relationship based on data information and performance of an MFI along with NBFC. Because if there have been performance that NBFCs have MFIs have worked very hard to not to be delinquent, not to be defaulter, because of one or two, 98, 99 should not suffer, because 99 has paid on time. If one or two has not paid on time, that needs to be taken into consideration. And also incentivize it. Whole industry work on incentive. Why if I am paying on time, I have not taken moratoriums, I have never delayed a payment for a single day, what do I get in return? Not even a letter of appreciation, or not even a mail comes saying, hey guys, you are great partners, you have returned our money well in time. So I think from there to the whole implication of cost, and the whole relationship move from pure transactional and clinical to a partnership model of building the blocks and working together, because I think we are part of the same value chain. Our clients, MFIs, NBFCs, banks, investors, lenders, we are all part of the same value chain. So it has to be a very integrated and inclusive approach rather than very opportunistic and exclusive approach. Thank you very much, Dr. Paul.
Thank you very much, Akhil. So a lot of things you have come with your this deliberation, that where we are seeing that, during distress time, you should not cool up. It's very important. Second, you need to understand the perspective of the MFIs. Yes, financial should be there, but non-financials also, if you can bring that one, would be good to understand the institution. Then accessibility and also timely disbursement and understanding the institution, not as like if some other institution is doing some late or something, it is not me who are doing. So it's much more case-to-case basis. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Akhil. You have taken only 2 minutes extra. You are very much in time. So dignitaries and participants, we are really happy that it's much more in time, although we are a little bit late, like 15 minutes. So at this point of time, I would like to turn this discussion towards understanding of the perspective of the NBFCs. So the challenges are there from this end and support are there from this end. Relationship is already built up, maybe something we have to look at, institution type we have to look up. So now I would request all these NBFC, the speakers, to give us better understanding and also to help us to chalk out some plan in the perspective of policy, in the perspective of operational side, in the perspective of other rating implementation side, all these things, if you can bring to us. And first, if you can make it in 4 or 5 minutes would be very, very good for us to keep it in time. So first I will be requesting Mr. Kamlesh Gandhi, CMD, Mass Financial Services. So over to you, Kamlesh.
Thank you so much. And I will tell that this meeting was long due. And it is good that we all are meeting at one forum. And as I look at the screen, I happen to know each one of you mostly and have relationships with many of you. Just to give you a background very briefly, and I'll not cross my time limit, we started funding MFI soon after AP crisis. So that shows the confidence the company has harbored for this sector and what value add this sector can do to the real economy. And I personally feel that a value chain approach is the best approach to serve the informal class of the society. It is not the size of the balance sheets that matters. It is the demographic understanding that matters. And with this belief, we have been partnering with almost more than 50, 60 NBFC MFIs of the country since long, and have scaled up our relationships and have strengthened the relationships with almost all of them. And by and large, looking at the torrid times, what we passed through, the conduct of majority of the NBFC MFIs is worth praising, and I would like to extend my congratulations to all of them, the way they have managed themselves through working hard, through bringing in more capital, or maintaining the liquidity in such a manner that they have not defaulted, and thereby keeping our confidence high on the
Hello.
and keeping the confidence.
Can you please, there is a logistic request that if we are not speaking, if we can keep ourselves on mute. Thank you very much. Kamlesh, please carry on. Sorry for this interruption.
So that has kept our confidence very high on the sector. And I am sure that going forward, we will navigate through this situation also very valiantly together. And we remain committed to support this sector. And support will not be the right word. We would like to grow along with this sector and ultimately realize the aim of extending credit where it is due to the most needy class of the society, thereby, which is a big challenge, and in the same way, a very big opportunity also. I have one or two suggestions as a practitioner, which I would like to share with all of you, is that while the conduct of majority of you has been excellent, let us come together to solve the problems where we face funding few of your partner NBFCs or fellow mates, whereby we think that this could be settled talking to them, whereby intentions for repayment should not be a problem, while there can be a genuine problem at the ground level. Because let me share with you as a lender that while we like not to generalize, but lending is a business of confidence. Once you lose confidence in single of the entity which we are lending, that reflects or echoes on our decision for lending even the other NBFCs. And that is true for every lender. It is not only true for NBFCs or banks, but even as NBFC MFIs, if one of your branches is not doing good, you would not like to allocate more of your capital to that branch. So I would honestly request the forums like Sadhan or MFIN to step in where there are genuine problems. As far as we are concerned, when we find problems on repayment, having put such a faith on the NBFC MFIs whom we have lent, and then we come across some of the events which are not absolutely healthy for us, nor for the industry, and not for the other players, because that shakes the confidence and ultimately that restricts the credit flow to this industry. While I would not like to be specific on names, but we all know that where we need to work, and some interaction on that level, that whereby we can bring forth our problems of repayments, and where you can act in tandem with us to solve our problems, will go a great way in strengthening our confidence further. While I would reiterate that the majority of them have demonstrated very high level of resilience and very high level of commitment, just few, for whatever reasons it may be, should not spoil the reputation of the sector, thereby restricting the flow of funds to this sector. And once again, I would like to thank all the MFI partners for having partnered with us for such a long time. We look forward for more and more such partnerships with them, and we will extend credit where it is due and do our part in contributing to the goal of extending credit where it is due to the most needed class of this society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kamlesh, for your, you are looking for the more congruent work in the space of where we are getting challenges. So what I would request to not only your institution, all the institution, if you are having any problem, please do write back to us, escalate the information to us, then definitely we will be working together. This is the space at the end of the day, we are looking forward to serve the end clients with a better financial proposal. We are very much on for it. Please do escalate that. Thank you once again. Thank you very much. So my next distinguished speaker is Mr. K.V. Srinivasan, WTD and CEO of Profectus Capital. Over to you, Mr. Srinivasan.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. It's a pleasure to speak with so many of the luminaries of the MFI industry. We are at Profectus Capital a relatively smaller, but then a significant portion of what we lend is to the MFIs. At one point in time, it used to be almost 50% of my balance sheet, but as the balance sheet has grown, the percentage has come down, but the relationships have remained as strong as they were. So therefore, I mean, that comes from the confidence that we have that this sector, irrespective of the ups and downs that we have seen happening since the days of Demon or even before that, that things will go up, but they go up and down. But then ultimately, the resilience of the sector is, I think, being proven more than once. What also gives us a lot of confidence is the fact that institutions like Sadhan do play such an important role in ensuring that the overall governance and overall, health of the MFI industry itself is kept alive in the right manner. And I keep talking to Mr. Mahesh Thakkar, and we keep saying that, we need a lot to learn from Sadhan and MFIN, etc. So that, that kind of control that you have on the MFI industry is a big plus factor from a lender's perspective as well. Yes, obviously there are issues which we also keep worrying about the sector as far as the lending side is concerned. One important factor is that because of the limitation on how many loans that you can give to a particular individual and so on, and given the fact that there are certain states where the level of saturation of the loans is becoming a bit of a problem. There are states which are highly, the depth of coverage is so high that there may not be much of a growth opportunity. So it's just a question of recycling the existing loans, because you really regulatorily can't give more. That is one area which, as a lender, we keep getting worried about. What about the future growth prospect of a particular company? The second factor is that, obviously, as Kamlesh Bhai mentioned, the governance thing, which was not a factor at all until recently, that has become a bit of a confidence-denting measure. Now, the way I look at it, it's a very personal opinion. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Could be that the transparency of what pool of loans is allocated to which lender or hypothecated to which lender is perhaps the root cause of this, because we have seen in certain situations the same pool getting hypothecated to several lenders, and therefore, because it's not a physical asset, so you can't put a tag on it, etc. So that is one area. If as an institution, if Sadhan can figure out some kind of a governance around, this will solve a lot of the sort of lack of confidence that one or two such incidents have actually brought to us. That is the second thing. The third one, of course, is I would say that there is a certain amount of political and other economic related vulnerability that the sector faces. We have seen in the past certain polity, whenever there is an election, we actually keep getting worried about what's going to happen. Or the sort of, at least in the interim period, the resilience of the borrower class itself is something that, does keep us a little worried. But as I said, in the long run, we don't have a problem as far as the basic business model itself is concerned. And we have seen that being proven over and over again in the past as well. The last factor, which, is a very the new discussion paper that has been put out by the Reserve Bank, where they are limiting the so-called, the way I look at it, there is a certain amount of a limitation of the extent to which the market can be covered. Because if you're going to put NBFCs, banks, MFI, everybody into one bucket, and you say that, okay, all lenders put together should only lend X number of loans to a particular individual, it has the impact, or it may have the impact of limiting the market even further. So in that scenario, what is Sadhan's and the MFI industry's viewpoint on the growth going forward? Should this become an implementable guideline? That sort of direction-giving note from Sadhan would give us a lot of clarity in terms of what are we really going to do in the long run. Definitely, there are points that the speakers raised in regard to the tenure and in regard to the fact that there are rates which are sometimes a little high. In fact, from a lender's perspective, as a lender, I can tell you from Profectus' perspective, we actually seek out the smaller entities. The only question that we raise is that what is the level of organization, what are the strength of their processes, and not the size of the balance sheet, because big is not necessarily beautiful in this sector. The more focused you are, more geographically concentrated you are, I would say that the business is a better business rather than a very diversified across the country kind of this thing. In that, my view would be a little different than what the rating agency would be typically looking for. They prefer diversification, I prefer concentration. So we actually seek out smaller lenders who have concentration but have very good governance and very good strong processes. Those would be the only consideration that I would look for, not necessarily the size of the balance sheet. So if some of these issues which I pointed out, we could see a way forward, I think the overall industry would gain in self-confidence, as well as it will be able to give out that confidence to the NBFCs and to the other lenders as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Srinivasan. You have actually taken only 1 minute extra. I'm very happy for that one, but your points are very good. Yes, you were talking about this, your concentration and other which geography you want to invest and all these things. So I'd bring to notice to you that Sadhan has what do you call center of art analytical hub. So from where we pull the parameters from different segment and come up with a quarterly report on that which area is overly concentrated, which area we can go forward. So all these things are there. So if you write to us, definitely we'll be happy to provide that one to you. It's for sure. And you were talking about this RBI's note on what we have, which has come up on 29th. We are having a very detailed discussion on it. Please be there. Please attend that one. I mean, it will bring a lot of this thing on the basis of that one, and also talking to the members. We will come up with a note and we'll be definitely share with you. We'll be extremely happy to be communicating it after this meeting. Thank you very much. My next speaker would be Mr. Ashish Thekekara, Senior Director of Northern Arc. Over to you, Ashish.
Thank you, Mr. Saibal, and I'm very glad to be on this discussion forum, and hope everyone's safe and healthy. I think can't agree more what Mr. Kamlesh and Mr. Srinivasan have said, both in terms of building confidence and more engagement and collaboration across stakeholders. I'll share some perspective in terms of how we looked at this space in the last 1.5 years, and especially after the pandemic has hit. What we've realized is that this sector shown resilience, and like in the past crisis also, and which shows that is here to stay, and that's the confidence as lenders, as market participants, we kind of communicate to other stakeholders as well. It also saw some blips, and some of the examples which Mr. Kamlesh mentioned. I think that had dented the confidence middle of the year. What we've seen is that has pushed institutions and good quality institutions to be more transparent, share more information, and share more updates more regularly with lenders to ensure that the confidence is not deterred. And what we've seen is institutions, small, big, anyone who's actually been very transparent, shared information. Even, everyone understands that portfolio quality is not the best in these times, but being open about it, sharing information, clarifying things, I think that has helped in terms of confidence. And to give you some examples, even in the middle of second wave and lockdowns, we've been able to convince lenders to actually take exposures on off-balance sheet transaction and pool asset purchase transaction. And that is only possible when we can actually give contract level information to lenders and build that confidence, saying that these are 2,000 borrowers who even in the middle of lockdown paid, and shows the creditworthiness of that underlying portfolio. I think steps like those have enabled that institutions who are sure about their operations, institutions who are open to share information, institutions who are open to share in terms of what their field practices are, have been able to access debt and capital relatively easier than the others. The other important piece, and some change which we see that which will stay for long, is ensuring that people have enough liquidity and don't run on thin margins. I think it's important that, and we've seen that in last 2 years, and especially after ILFS, DHFL crisis, and the lockdowns and moratorium, that running neck to neck in terms of your collections and disbursements is a risky affair. So maintaining enough cash buffers, ensuring that you have 3 months of visibility of your debt payments, OPEX, even with zero collections. I think that those are prudent steps which we've seen that institutions have taken, and builds confidence among the lenders and investors. The other important piece, what we observed and taken and worked with a couple of our portfolio companies, was wherever there were stakeholders, equity stakeholders, both in terms of promoters and shareholders, we've kind of engaged with them and ensured that they show their skin in the game as well. Many a times what we've seen is institutions go back to stakeholders saying that I want debt, but do not show the commitment from their own side. And in a crisis time is where if the key stakeholders, the companies kind of contribute, that also adds to the messaging in trouble times. So having said these three things, we personally believe and demonstrated that in the last year that microfinance sector is one of the most vibrant sectors. In fact, just to give some statistics, if financial year 2021 happened to be our biggest year in terms for the sector since inception. So we and not just in terms of lending to the institutions, but also partnering with these institutions to kind of reach out to the last mile consumer through our lending platform called Nimbus. So I think transparency, bringing in skin in the game, and communicating more with all stakeholders on a regular basis will ensure that the confidence of the sector, the perception about the sectors, all these aspects are addressed. And of course, not to forget that consultative sessions like this, getting all stakeholders together, will ensure that we all are on the right progress on the right path for this space.
Thank you very much, Ashish. So your whole epicenter of your discussion is basically the transparency and that in a kind of openness between the institutions. Thank you. This is one of the really good parameters where we can make a lot of decisions on the basis of that one. I totally agree with you. My next speaker would be Mr. Parth Sanghani. He is head of treasury of Vivriti Capital. I would also request to people to give us some understanding that many of our colleagues, they have raised the issue of the cost of this borrowing. How can we bring it down? So if these colleagues from this NBFC, lending NBFCs, they can speak out something around it as well. We are very much open to take it forward to different entities jointly or single-handedly with different regulators wherever we do have access. Thank you. Apart from other things, I would also like to hear those things. Thank you.
Sure. Shaibal, hi, this is Vamshi. I'm Chief Credit Officer of Vivriti Capital. I've joined on behalf of Parth. He's caught up in another assignment and therefore he couldn't make it for this meeting. So to start off with what we have done, I think thanks to Dr. Akhil for bringing up the work that our platform has been doing. So we've been working on credit discovery since inception, and we have 3 platforms product wise, right? With which is a bond platform, a co-lending platform, and a term loan platform, which solves for the need based on size. So there are larger entities raising bonds of different volume. And then there are mid-size NBFCs working on term loans, and the smaller ones doing a combination of co-lending and term loans. So we are supporting the NBFCs, both the microfinance institutions, by lending from our own balance sheet, as well as by raising debt in each of these platforms separately. Apart from raising debt through the platform and providing technology solutions, we've been actively working in covering the space through webinars. We've also recently recently launched a paper on RBI's most recent circular and on the implications. So we've been doing a lot of knowledge dissemination and building technology solutions to help this or to work and to make accessibility of finance easier for every participant in this space, right? So I think our own product solution is the only way that where I see the cost of funds could become better. Our own co-lending platform is one of the solutions that we've been working with a lot of MFIs, talking to them about, and we see some of the entities in the space or some of the entities that are there on the call. We've been talking to them for co-lending, and they've seen a demo of our platform. So it helps the MFIs as well as the institutions, because of course currently there's a regulatory arbitrage when it comes to co-lending, because or BC partnerships, whichever way it is done, because the rates are not uniform. So that's one way where the MFI see merit, the smaller MFI specifically, because if it's fully BC, then the interest rate could be slightly differential, which gives them the ability to cover their own operational costs without having to meet the interest rate criteria. So this is something that we've been doing, and at the same time, we are working with institutions, the banks, to see if they will open up for the sector, which will automatically bring the cost of funds down for the institutions. So that's where we are, and I think from what we expect, I'm just echoing whatever has been discussed so far. Governance has been the concern in the space of late, and anything that can be done to address governance, better access or providing more access to lenders, either in the form of data, visits, management, time, whichever format, which gives more confidence to lenders, will help us, the platform, and other institutions in moving quickly towards decision making. Right, yeah, so that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We could understand that your initiative in the area of technology and bringing your rate of interest down. Okay, good to know. My next speaker is Mr. Kishore Kumar Lodha, CFO of Hinduja Leyland Finance. Mr. Lodha.
He's there. I doubt whether he's there. In the beginning, he was not there. Now he says join. Just check up.
Okay, fine. So let us go to the next speaker, Mr. Gaurav Gupta, MD, Ananya Finance.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I think most of the points have already been covered, but maybe I'll be a little more specific, especially regarding smaller MFIs, because we have been financing small MFIs. Even today, I think 60% of our MFI institutional borrowers are small MFIs. So even last year, which was a COVID impacted year, in terms of number of borrowers, institutional borrowers to whom we extended loans, 75% had gone to small MFI partners. Yes, I can only reiterate that confidence has completely been shaken. It's a business of trust, as highlighted by Kamlesh Bhai. What I can probably share is that a little more specific, a few partners, they have given us real-time viewing access to their LMs. So I would request, MFIs present in this room to, consider that. There is no reason why you can't give a lender access to the entire portfolio, that will give a lot of confidence. So we can download reports.
Gaurav, there is a comment that the voice is echoing.
Okay, is it okay now, sir?
Now it seems okay.
Okay. So, so as I said, most of the points have already been said, so I will not repeat them. Maybe a little specific that you can give lenders access, viewing access and downloading rights to the portfolio, the entire portfolio. Not only a portion of the pool that is hypothecated to a particular lender, that will give lenders a lot more confidence. We have been given that by two of our partners, and obviously that gives us a lot more confidence on those partners, and so we are prioritizing them for giving loans. The second thing that I'd like to highlight is that a lot of focus we find small partners. Maybe I'll just give me a second, please. Yeah. So we find smaller partners, smaller MFIs, focus most of the time on raising debt. We find. Am I audible?
Yes, Gaurav.
Yeah, now it's okay. Now it's okay with the headphone.
Okay, thank you. So if you look at I think MFIs who have been successful, be it Satya, be it Mitrata, they have all been successful because they were able to plan and raise equity on time. So we see a lack of focus on raising equity by smaller MFIs. Now, it's already a very uncertain world. Fundraising, I mean, there are so many uncertainties, one after the other, there are lots of challenges. So I would just request the MFI partners to actually focus on equity, and I can help also on that. So in fact, everybody out there, irrespective of size, you need to plan in advance and raise equity. That is something that we have been highlighting to all our partners. That's all I'll stop with.
Gaurav, you are focusing mostly on the planning side of the investment and also raising fund, which will help the industry. And I know that you have been supporting the microfinance institutions in a big way. So I'd be looking forward for your more contribution in this segment. Thank you, Gaurav, very much.
Sure. Thank you.
Now my distinguished speaker would be Mr. Thiruna Pukkarasu, R, COO, Kinara Capital. My sincere apology. I couldn't speak well, tell the name properly. Sorry for that.
That's totally fine. You can call me Thiru in short.
Yeah. Okay, Thiru.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Actually, we are NBFC, but we don't lend loans to MFIs, but we lend to MSME. Thanks to Mr. Mahesh for inviting us to speak, and also thanks for Sadhan, Mr. Satish. See, one thing I would definitely accept with the points which have been discussed is we in the last 1 year also we have been hit by these kind of liquidity kind of issue. One thing which has been incredibly supportive for us is the co-lending. So in fact, in the panel, whoever, like, we have been co-lending with the Vibhriti Capital, with Northern Arc, even with Ananya Finance, and also with Samunnati. So because that is actually helping us in the sense, so the same approach if MFIs also take to get co-lending with any of the larger NBFCs or the banks, that will definitely help during this kind of time where there is a shortage of liquidity. And having said that, I mean, because as I said, like we also borrow from all the larger NBFCs in the last 1 year. Even in these circumstances, we have been able to mobilize around 500 crores during this last 7-8 months from different NBFCs and SFBs, including SFBs, because of maintaining some kind of a decent collection efficiency, and also maintaining some decent number in the NPAs. So one request from my side to the larger NBFCs is also to look at the book debts, because if everyone wants more than 100% as book debt, like 125 and 150% as a book debt, when I'm talking about the term loan, when this term loan actually requires 100, 125, then in the end we will not be having enough book debt to give it to the NBFCs, or that is one challenge which I would definitely request to consider. And the second thing is also, considering the current situation, when the due diligence happens from the larger NBFCs to smaller NBFCs or NBFC MFIs, the GNPA is a very, very comparative number. It's not I mean, it's not like any unsecured lender can be compared with the different other lenders, or it's based on different geography, it's based on different customer target segment. But the holistic approach of whether the NBFC is profitable, or what is the actual interest margin, or the kind of risk which is being taken into account when the pricing is placed. So all those things comes into picture. So that's one thing. So how do larger NBFCs can differentiate by viewing people, because under these current circumstances, obviously the NPA would definitely increase. So that is one thing which I would definitely will help in seeing this sector a little bit more closely. And also the tenure, which I think some of the member already requested, is also about the tenure. Most of it is short term, which will be kind of, because average tenure of the customers which we whom lend is also important to us. For us, it's around 36 months. So when we get a loan at a 24 months, that will become a little bit of a cash management issue. So all these things is definitely, if we consider, then that will be definitely helpful for NBFCs to get money. But one thing that I will repeat is the co-lending is definitely has helped us during this time, which the other MFIs and NBFC MFIs should definitely explore with larger NBFCs or the banks. That will help in during these times. Thank you, Mr. Saiba.
Thank you very much, Thiru. What I could understand from you, you are looking forward, you were talking about the investment structuring and also the raising in different segments, which would be helpful to both of the sides. And yeah, thank you for your deliberation. Thank you for your.
Thank you so much.
So now my next colleague would be Mr. Hari Rajagopal, VP of Samunnati Financial. Over to you, Hari.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, Hari. You are audible. Only we are not seeing you. We are seeing your photograph.
Okay. So what I'd like to say is, see, as a largely unsecured working capital business loan NBFC, we are also watching the current environment with a fair bit of caution, but also a little bit of optimism. See, because we are exclusively in the agriculture space, Samunnati has been maintaining the flow of working capital to its clients. And it is imperative that we don't hold up the rights to draw down, disburse for our existing clients under any circumstances, because it is critical to the functioning of their business. So one thing that Samunnati has been working is to maintain the flow of its working capital to customers, and therefore maintaining enough liquidity and maintaining some amount of buffer to offer a runway for the next few months is something that we have been working on, and we have been able to maintain that so far. I think going forward, as the economy is unlocking already, we will see some of the credit stress, the stress and asset quality play out, where if you had a blanket moratorium for customers because we were not able to collect the money, I think now the time will come, and actually whether the money is repayable or not, how much restructuring is required, how much refinancing is required, I think those are the assessments we will have to make. On the funding side, we have been working with the banks because 94% of what Samunnati works is considered priority sector lending done by the banks. And we are working with the banks on approaching our asset classes, and Samunnati can be a partner in helping facilitate origination as well as co-lending along with the banks, because we realize these are going to be the key drivers of liquidity for our customers, because banks would always have much larger balance sheets, and sentiments around lending to NBFCs will always keep fluctuating with market circumstances. So therefore, it is imperative that we leverage the NBFC's channel as a distribution and origination channel for the bank. So that's something we've been doing. It is important that the liquidity is available at the right price, because again, we are seeing and observing a risk aversion and risk pricing by some of the financial institutions. And we think that while there is overall liquidity overhang, there is a risk aversion which is feeding into upward pricing for several originators and issuers, and therefore this situation is playing out as we speak. And all we can do right now is to help customers overcome immediate short-term liquidity mismatches due to the disruption of various operations, but also on the funding side, ensure that there is enough liquidity both from domestic and international sources, and that pricing is maintained, because if in this time of stress, if NBFCs are forced to pass on additional risk-based pricing to their customers, the customer sustainability will be in danger. So in a way, we will all have to share a little bit of the pain and come out of this situation. So probably this is what a few comments we as Savanati would like to make.
Thank you very much, Hari. I would really appreciate your thought on this sharing of the distress that, at this point of time when everybody is going through a challenge, how we can develop that coherence to understand the distress, and also how can we share it. At the end of the day, we have seen after this past COVID-1, we have seen that in 4 or 5 months of time, the market actually revived. It came up to 90, more than 90%. Poor people, they always repay, as Dr. Yunus always say. So I totally appreciate your view on this. Thank you, Hari. And now I would like to request Mr. Siddharth Mani, Senior Manager Risk of Caspian Impact, to speak on the issue.
Thank you,
like to
Saibal
understand his perspective on it.
Yes, thank you.
A kind of a long time investor in the system. I would really like to understand from Mani. Thank you, Mani.
Thank you, Saibal, for inviting us. And yes, Caspian has never looked at the microfinance space as an opportunistic play. And in fact, despite all the ups and downs that we saw last year, either due to the pandemic or because of certain institution-led dynamics, the fact of the matter is that Caspian did see a significant increase in the proportion of microfinance portfolio during the year, which is FY21. Our overall microfinance book, at least as of March, stands at approximately 30%, and that is a significant jump from what it was a year before. Of course, a lot of it has been, buoyed and been possible because of the different partnerships that we were able to channelize through the year. And also, I would like to throw some color to this. We also have a very healthy composition between what we typically see as the smaller or the larger MFIs. In fact, more than half of our MFI clients are what would be classified under your small or medium section. It is not something probably very intrinsic to our DNA. But I would actually like to echo what Vivek ji was mentioning some time back, which is, retrospectively speaking, we did see significantly better collections happening from the field for smaller MFIs versus what we saw in larger MFIs. I think if that isn't a demonstration of, the very fact that we shouldn't be generalistic about the industry, I think we really should reconsider our approach to lending to the space. Also, I'll just quickly, probably touch upon a few things which haven't already been, discussed by the other dignitaries talking today. While of course transparency, governance, we can't talk enough about. I think for Caspian, what definitely makes a difference in an institution is how convinced is the team about making genuine efforts to create a difference in the space. And that is how it percolates down at the field level. Is people empathy ingrained in their DNA as much as it is for us? I think there lies a differentiating factor that we would like to see in all institutions around us. Of course, something which has been primarily driven by the pandemic situation is, we are trying to explore and find practical ways to have partnerships which work irrespective of the distances that have just increased over the last 1 year. Specifically on some of the points which Bikendrajit ji mentioned, or probably also which Dr. Akhil mentioned. I think we need to look at costs a little more openly. Frankly, I don't see an NBFC lending to another NBFC really making economic sense unless the lending NBFC really has a big scale. And hence, as long as that scale remains an issue with the lending NBFC, costs will always be a challenge, especially in the present regulatory scenario, where the MFIs in turn cannot have a matching higher interest rate charged to the end borrowers. Overall, we believe that the industry itself is poised for a significant change. I mean, we see regulation probably moving towards more inclusiveness than more prescriptive nature as it has developed over the last decade. And I think there would lie a clear difference for MFI to actually shout out loud for the sector and say, hey, I am really doing my job well. So please come and partner with me and grow with me. I think that's about it that I would like to share on the topic present.
Thank you very much. It's very heartening to understand that your portfolio has really raised during this pandemic time. It's very interesting observation from your end. And thank you, Caspian, to be there in the market for a long time and supporting the industry and in a different way as well. Thank you very much. So my next speaker is Mr. Krishan Gupta from Eclair Leasing and Finance. Probably he has to leave this meeting because of some urgency at his home. So if you are there once again, if Krishan, if you can, are you there, Krishan? I got the information you have actually gone out because there is some urgency. Anyway, perfectly fine. So we got a lot of these issues to be working on. There is some Dhobi list which I could understand, which we need to refine over the period of time. It's around very positive thing what most of our speakers they have told, that there is a relationship, there has been a trust factor, it is already there, but we have to look at in a different parameter probably to understand it more. So apart from that, what we could understand that cost structure is one of the important issues, then this other collaterals and also tenure, personal guarantee, accessibility. There is also a request from our end that institution should not be pulling out during distress, and also timely disbursement, everything. Then governance has come up one of the issues. Yes, we understand and we need to work on it. Then we have also, most of the speakers from NBFC, they have talked about lending NBFC, they have talked about the transparency. Yes, one of the very interesting thing came up with is the planning of fundraising and planning of investment, which is very, very much important. Then your investment structuring, and there is also one of the issues which we have discussed on the sharing of the distress. Thank you very much. So it has to be, we are actually 18 minutes late, but still I would now open it to all of these participants to have a discussion, maybe for next 10 minutes. 7-8 minutes would be better. So participants, it's now open floor to discuss with this lending NBFCs, and also if there is some concern or anything, you can raise. And our NBFC, lending NBFC colleagues, they will be deliberating on it.
Good afternoon, Shivalda.
Yeah, Animesh, please.
This is Animesh Naya representing a small MFI registered under Society Act, Government of West Bengal. We are happy to say that already we are partner of 3 NBFC like Ononna, E-Clear Leasing and Samunati. But what we are saying last 1 year that the NBFC they are not very interested to lend further to the society like the CBS as it is registered under Society Act except Ononna Finance. My request to all the NBFCs, whether you are doing lending, any kind of lending like TL or partnership, BC arrangement to the society like the small MFIs, the non-profit MFIs. Please say something about the non-profit MFIs.
Okay, I think what he is trying to tell that the support system from lending NBFC to the not-for-profit entities. So if anybody, it's a request, but anyway, if anybody wants to respond on this one, are we really lending to them? Are we really supporting to them, or we are a little bit apprehensive about this segment? Anybody from lending NBFC side? Okay, so probably we can discuss on it so 1-to-1. Anybody else?
Hello. Hello, Shivalda.
Yeah, Mr. Soundarajan is there. Then.
Good evening, sir. Good evening to all. I echo the views given by the esteemed colleague from YUB Finance that the due diligence certificate, once we have taken loan from an NBFC, they understand the first instance itself. So repeatedly asking for due diligence certificate. Also, the book debt statement duly certified with the auditor for every quarter. That will minimize the cost for the small MFI. That I agree with him, and that should be taken note of by all the big NBFC lender NBFCs. This is what I want to communicate. Second thing is from Mas and Mr. K.V. Srinivasan was suggesting the size of the balance sheet should not be the criteria. The process and the governance they should see for the small MFI, then only the small MFI can grow. Thank you for giving this opportunity, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheryl, good evening. I want to share something.
Yeah, please.
Not share today. I will request all of our lending agency, some of our lending agency, particularly NBFC, they had extended their hand to small or medium MFI earlier, but after COVID, somebody are shut off their hand and they're not lending due to the risk sector. I think so many disasters we have faced, like Andhra Pradesh crisis and demonetization, so many things we have faced, even till we are exist. So there is no risk actually, because the poor people, those who are belonging in the rural level, earlier they was dependent on Mahajan, and now they are maximum depend on the particularly NBFC MFI. And they will survive, and they will refund our money when they will start their business. Please extend their hand again to NBFC, our like company, those who are working in the rural level. So there is no actually, there is no risk. I think, and I can, particularly you can also see the data of Indian economics. The maximum amount has been forwarded by big NBFC or big company, those who are in the right now out of India, But the small MFI, those who are working in the rural level, poorest people, they are not fraud anybody. Some exceptional case also they are in India. Please don't afraid about it. Please extend their hand again. Some of our MFI, NBFC are closed. They are MFI business. They are not extended to loan, particularly this sector. And some of the NBFC are saying that we are stopping MFI lending. Please start again. This is my humble request. I am from Gramin Shakti Microfinance Private Limited, Kolkata. Connection number. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much that you have put this request to all of our colleagues who are representing lending MFIs.
Hello, Saibal. Saibal ji.
Ji, yes, please.
Narendra, I am Narendra from Osapi. I just wanted, I have heard a lot of insight from the NBFC lending NBFCs, and they have and also experience shared by MFIs in the present context. Yes, that is true. Whatever they have said, they have experienced really, I mean, it has been a challenging period for us. The smaller MFIs in Odisha specifically, we have got 8 to 10 of them. And they are really struggling. They are members of Osapi, they are members of Sadhan, they are members of also, some of them are MPIN. So they are struggling with their operations. So as a, I mean, state level association, this is not a question or queries, but a appeal and request to all the lending NBFCs. Please reconsider to lending them again so that they can survive and they can take their operations to the different level higher, and they will serve the lowest the bottom of pyramid in the state. So we know that COVID is very challenging, and in Odisha there was a fraud kind of cases. All these were like blocks, constraint. But that, despite that, I would request all the lending and lending NBFCs to reconsider, because this is almost 2 years that no MFI, smaller MFI has got any penny or any 1 rupee of a loan from outside agencies, banks or NBFCs in the country. So my request will be, please let them reconsider lending to the NBFCs, NBFC MFI, smaller ones especially in the state as well as in the national level. So this is my appeal. Just thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's appeal, and we are also requesting all of our colleagues to look at it. And here, this what Hari has told about this, that sharing of the challenges, sharing of distress. If we can bring up that one, and also we can also understand this NBFCs, they do have also their requirement of investment. They are also investing, they are getting money from somewhere, they have to repay it, all these things. But it's a good thing that we are deliberating on it. Maybe we in some time we can pull up something around this, that how can we make it more bring together the convergence in a different way in understanding the institution to take it forward. Yes, risk is from both of the ends, I can understand, but if we can work on it, probably it would be better for both, like the investment side also and the implementation side also, maybe in the governance side, maybe looking at the larger picture of the institution. But at the end of the day, this the poor people, they repay. We can always, we have got this from our experience over the period of time, over and over. So anybody else?
Thank you. We can move on the next agenda.
So if there is no one, then I mean, I didn't want to.
Mr. Saibal?
Yes.
I'm Jocelyn Thampi.
Yes, please.
From Board of Finance Limited.
Right.
First of all, I should thank Sadhan to organize this workshop. Through this, I get a chance to understand so many NBFCs lending practices, and majority of them are explained that transparency, equity, co-financing. If it is so, I think Bauda is happy to associate with them. Some of the NBFCs we are associating with them, Samunadi, then eClear, Cashfin also we have sent a proposal. Then Ananya we have sent a proposal because of Corona. It's delayed. I think it will be very helpful more than through these participants also. We have sent more than 6 NBFCs proposals were pending, and it will be very helpful if you could arrange it. The lenders also should be positive, because even moratorium has fixed by RBI, we didn't stop repaying the loan. 100% repayment was there, and moreover the need is so high. We are having a 7 lakh member base, but around 80,000 people we are able to give. Our model is entirely different model. Self-help group model, the peer pressure group is there. We won't go to collect the money. People used to come to collect, pay the money.
Yes,
so these practices we are having, but it will be very helpful if the institution are interested. I think we are happy to associate with them. Now the portfolio is only 100 crore. The demand is more than 600 crores.
Yes, yes. Very
Thank you,
much
sir.
we could
Thank you,
understand.
sir.
We can understand the plight of the people and also the institution, and probably we could convey it to our colleagues, to the lending NBFCs. So, I mean, before going to the next segment of our discussion, there is a slide. I didn't want to put it before our discussion, but this is just one slide to give overall picture where are we standing. So, Sandeep, if you can put that slide on. It may have influenced the whole discussion, so I didn't want to put it. So, if you can make it a full full screen, yeah, this is where we are actually standing. So, this is self-explanatory that over the period of time, where are we standing? So, at this point of time, the total it's a data on last year's up to March. This is Bharat Microfinance 2020. We are collecting the data of 2021, but this is where we are standing. So there is a shift of the NBFC lending NBFCs from the small, I mean the bigger one. In 2017-18 we were seeing 16 institutions being supported, MFI being supported. Now it is 25. Whereas the mid segment of 100 to 500 crore, it was 22. Now it is 21. In between there was a dip, and in the smaller one it was 66. It has been reduced a bit from 66 to 60. But there is a percentage calculation I was doing that overall portfolio. I mean, if we take the base year of 2017-18 to 2019-20, the reduction is actually very less in segment of the smaller MFIs under 100 crore. Although the number has decreased, but the percentage of decrease in portfolio means this lending is only 7%, whereas in the large one it is a little bit more. So this is where we are standing. Thank you very much. And now, as per the agenda, the next one is way forward by Mr. K.V. Srinivasan, Chairperson, Representation Committee of FIDC. Mr. K.V. Srinivasan, if I can request you to put forward your way forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. I mean, obviously, it's we are towards the end of the session, and this session has been quite a productive one or a fruitful one, because all the issues that we had on hand have been discussed. Now, I would like to highlight a few points. I think obviously, some of the points in terms of the margins and in terms of the auditor certificates being relaxed and all of that are very well placed. I think as an industry, certainly we would also like to debate amongst our members and see what we can do best on that. Because the idea is to improve governance and not improve the pain. I think that's the most important factor. And so definitely we would like to deliberate on that and see what we can really do. But I think, to the larger point of NBFCs shying away, so-called shying away from lending to MFIs, and the slide that you put up, as I was saying, the so-called risk aversion from NBFC side towards the MFI sector, or for that matter, the slide that you put up now, showing the overall dip in the disbursement from NBFCs to MFIs. Let's understand the context also, because if you really look at post-IRNFS, the flow of funds to the NBFC sector itself has come to a fairly, decelerating pace. Now, and that is effectively reflected in the NBFC's ability to lend to the MFI sector as well. And I can tell you from the credit bureau data, which I look at on a very quarterly basis, 2018-19, 2019-20, 2020-21. Between these 3 years, every year or every quarter, there has been a 30% reduction in the fresh sanctions made by NBFCs on an overall basis. And if you leave out the unsecured lending or the consumer lending kind of portfolios, the actual industrial lending and lending to MFIs, etc., has actually crashed by more than 40%. Because the funds availability with the NBFCs themselves are shrunk, and many of them actually shrunk their book also. Therefore, the so-called aversion to lending to MFIs is a corollary it's an inability to lend rather than unwillingness to lend. So this is one very important factor. And I think overall, it does stem from the overall risk aversion from the banking system to lend to the NBFCs, which is getting cascaded down to the MFI sector as well. So as an association, FIDC has been advocating this whole concept of moving away from banking over-dependence. What we are saying is that there must be alternatives to be found for the NBFCs and MFIs to raise money outside the banking systems. Number one being better rules and regulations as far as private placement of NCDs, better ways of doing, some kind of a risk-enhanced debentures. The third factor is a more vibrant securitization kind of a market, but most importantly, a very robust refinancing mechanism, which will add as an additional source of fund for NBFCs and MFIs. Yes, there was some amount of success which the MFIs saw from the Mudra schemes, but frankly, did it leave a lot to be desired? The answer is very clearly yes. Definitely, we can do a lot more on that. So we have been advocating the concept of a NABARD or a SIDBI actually coming in and playing the role of a refinancer the way the NHB plays for the housing finance institutions, right? Because the faster and more we move away from the over-dependence on banking system and diversify our source of funding, the kind of a seasonal or a cyclical fluctuations in the flow of funds can be addressed to a fair extent. So then this kind of uncertainty will be taken care of. And we have been working with the RBI, with the Ministry of Finance and all of that in trying to create, and even to SEBI, for instance, to create a more deeper and wider finance market for us. It would be a great pleasure if Sadhan could also, work along with FIDC and take this one particular issue forward. If I have to pick out one issue that is facing the MFI or the NBFC industry, it is this. So I think that's broadly what I have to say, and it will be wonderful if we could partner with Sadhan on this.
Yeah, I mean, really at the end of the day, I mean, from your deliberation, we could see a ray of hope in the overall discussion that how can we go forward, and where are the challenges basically, the bottleneck is especially the source of the NBFCs themselves. So it is not intentional, probably it is a space where we are working. Yep. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now I would request Mr. P. Satish to put forward his concluding remarks and formal vote.
Thanks, Saibal.
Satish, over to you.
Mahesh Bhai, would you like to add anything in the end?
Nothing really. It went off very well. I think this is the beginning, I hope that if the physical meetings were possible between, in the last quarter of this financial year, we can plan the physical meetings in 2-3 parts of the country where we have the full day agenda on a discussion on this, as well as B2B meetings between MFIs and NBFCs, maybe in Bombay, Delhi, one in Northeast. Maybe in January to March, we can plan that jointly together, and that will pave the great way ahead. Thank you.
Yep, totally agree.
Thank you, Mr. Thakkar. So, thanks everyone for an active participation, and I think it has been a very fruitful interaction for all of us from the MFI side and from the NBFC side. And from the MFIs, our able and young representatives were able to articulate very well the issues the small MFIs are facing. And from the NBFC side, we had a wide range of responses, interaction, and I am very much heartened by the very positive response from Mr. Srinivasan's side on many issues, because he particularly said that for many of the MFIs, even now, many of the NBFCs which are funding MFIs, they still consider small is beautiful, and they are not bothered about looking at only the big institution. That's quite a heartening thing for us. And also he has articulated some of the issues which the one issue with regard to easier and more smoother refinance for the NBFCs and MFIs from the refinancing agencies. That is something I think jointly FIDC as well as Sadhan we can take up. And many issues have been raised, yes, from the NBFC side as to what they look for, like the governance, risk management practices, better systems and all. So these are some things which we will impress upon our member institutions also, that they will have to take care of these things if they have to attract higher funding. And at the same time, I think both of us, FIDC as well as Sadhan, should persist with refinancing agencies like SIDBI, Mudra and NABARD for greater funds flow to the section, I think, to the sector. We can all work together, and I'm sure that with such a positive response from Mr. Mahesh Thakkar as well as Srinivasan, both our organizations can go ahead and do a lot for the sector. With these words, we have spent...
I'll just...
please.
Satish ji, if you don't mind. Suggest is Sadhan can give a chart or a table, where we get the columns, MFI's concern and NBFC's response today, without giving names of the companies. And that gap, because working together is a win-win situation for all.
Yeah, certainly. So, Shaibal, I think this is a good suggestion. Immediately we will work on this based on whatever notes we have made, and also our recording is also there. We can put both these together. So that we can share it with them, and we can get a we can do work, because we don't want to end this workshop just like a talking shop without some outcomes. So we'll certainly do that. So I thank all of you for taking this time, and nearly we are nearing 5 o'clock. That means 2 hours we have spent, whereas we have planned only for 1.5 hours. That itself shows the interest with the discussions are generated. So thank you, and I also thank all our Sadhan team for working on this and making this possible. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you from our side.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thakkar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to the whole Sadhan team.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sadhan team. Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Let's continue to do the good work.
Shavalda.